So we're back with another episode of Disrupting Long Island. Today, I'm here with David Colon, one of the owners, along with your wife, of Husky Design and Build.
Yes, thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. So tell me a little bit about Husky Design and Build. What do you guys do, and how'd you get started?
So we're a full-service design and build company. We take your project from start to completion. I feel right there, that's not something that many people or many companies can do. And what design and build is, we start with design rather than just going right into construction. We make our mistakes on paper. We're not making our mistakes out on the field, which is right there. That's game changing. That's going to save a tremendous amount of cost right there. That's something that sets us apart. Design first, I would say.
Cool.
Always design first.
Cost is something we're definitely going to get back to, because I know a lot of your content is about the topic of cost.
Yes,
to say the least. So we'll come back to that. I wanted to ask you, how did you get the name Husky?
Ooh, we're going deep. Okay. So we currently have, my wife and I, we currently have 2 Huskies. So we obviously love the breed of dogs. I actually built a building for this community 2020, I would say. I built the building and I did a hell of a job. Company loves me. They were like, we want to keep you within, you built this building. Why not be the maintenance manager of the building you just built? Because the next building that they're building is not as big. The budget's not as big. So they needed to, and I was just out of college. I was the lowest man on the totem pole, but they loved me. Mm-hmm. So they wanted to keep me within the company. So they asked me to be the maintenance manager. I take the job. They're like, you need to take the apartment with the job. And within a week, they kick out my dog, just because she's a Husky.
Is that a problematic breed, Huskies?
So it's in an apartment building. I mean, I could understand pit bulls. They're an aggressive type breed. Huskies, they're not really aggressive, but I could see it as maybe they don't like the howling in an apartment building. That can be a nuisance. But what they did just didn't sit right with me. I feel I busted my butt for them, and I think that was evident in them offering me the maintenance manager position. You don't put somebody in a maintenance manager position unless you have a lot of trust, because this is a person that's going to take care of your operations of your building for the lifetime of the building. You have to have somebody that you trust, and they trusted me, and yet they immediately did that move to me, and I took that personal. Within 6 months, I started Husky Construction.
And when was this?
This is 2020.
Okay.
Right as COVID hits.
Yeah.
Couldn't be more dangerous. COVID hits, and I started up Husky Construction, and we end up moving because, like I said, I had to take an apartment in this apartment building, and now I'm leaving them. So that means I got to find a new place to live. Our whole life just changed instantly. COVID's happening, and I'm starting a construction company.
Yeah.
And I just went with it. And
it's not the worst time to get into construction.
Believe it or not, for me, it felt like the exact opposite. It felt like the worst time. At that time, everybody's doing the mask thing. Mm-hmm. They're not letting you into their home. And I'm starting a company that I'm like, let me focus on kitchens and baths. But nobody's letting you into their home. So for a few months, I was at like a stalemate. Like I couldn't really do much. So what do? I go and work for others. But I left Husky open. I didn't close it down officially. I was like, I'm going to come back to this. Sure enough, my wife gets pregnant, and the day of our expected delivery date, my wife's dad passes away, and immediately my wife wakes up, because he was supposed to retire at the end of the summer. He passes away August 18th, I would say, which is our due date. 3 days later, we give birth, and my wife is like, he was supposed to retire, and he didn't even get to enjoy retirement. He didn't even make it to retirement. She's like, I'm supposed to work the next 40 years of my life for this company. So she kind of woke up, and we kind of decided, let's do this Husky thing again. And we gave it another shot. I went at it first on my own. Just recently, 3 months ago, I was able to pull my wife out of her 9 to 5, which was tremendous, I would say. And now I have my designer full time, where before this 3 months ago, my wife was 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning working on our projects while working a 9 to 5 job. She was doing a hell of a job supporting us, and now she's full time, and she's still up at 2, 3 a.m., but at least she's full time with us and doing a hell of a job right now. Lots changed, so it's been amazing to see.
Yeah, that's quite a journey. When did you? I'm fascinated with this type of question. When did you make the decision to pull her out of her job? Was it a specific monetary milestone, or was it just the amount of work?
It was something that. So when I started dating my wife back in 2016, I always saw this as a possibility. At that time in 2016, I'm doing maintenance. I'm not maintenance construction, but mostly maintenance, and I'm not where I'm at today. But to go back to your question, all summer long, I pulled her out, I want to say in September, but all summer long, it was just like, I need help. I'm by myself. Although she's helping me after her 9 to 5 hours, it's just like I felt like I needed a lot more help than what she was able to give me. So, and you mentioned financially, I wasn't there financially. I was scared financially, but I took that risk. And to be honest, it couldn't have paid off better. I bring her on, even though I felt financially I wasn't ready. It ended up being the best move possible for us. We've grown tremendously since then. 3 months ago, everything has changed. Bringing her on full time was the best move ever. And it goes to show, you might not be ready, but take that leap of faith anyway. And it works.
If there was someone out there right now who's watching this, who you deliver that message to, right? You're watching this, take that leap of faith, go for it.
Yes.
Are there any qualifiers for that? Anything that, like, if you're at this certain point, then you take that leap? Or is it just a feel?
I would say if you have a vision for something and it's really resonating with you, and now you've really thought this vision out, you might feel like, all right, I'm not at 100%, but I'm at like 80%. You might feel like you're at 60%. Take that leap of faith. You'll hit that 100%, even at 60, 80%. You know, if you take that leap, you got to keep that. What's not the law of attraction? Abundance mindset, I would say. If you had that abundance mindset, it just keeps coming to you in abundance. And that's something that I kept telling my wife even before bringing her on. I was like, just think in abundance. And it really just stuck. And to this day now, my wife is like, abundance mindset. And it's just, it catches on.
Well, if you think about that moment, you made the decision, right? You calculated the risks and you said, all right, we're going to go without my wife's salary now. She's going to jump on full-time with us. But it's calculated. It's not just like a spur-of-the-moment decision. How do you, I guess, determine, like, this is the right time to do that?
So I will say there never is a right time to do anything. There almost is never the right time. It's just finding that right moment for yourself. There's never a right time. You will never be ready, 100% ready, but you have to take that leap, and that leap is what's going to grow you to be ready. That's probably the best way of explaining that one out, because you're never ready.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the abundance mindset, right? It's in that moment, you could have either crumbled under the pressure or got to work and got to where you're at right now. And only one of those things happens if you're terrified, right? Or if you're too scared to take action and to do it. But you made the decision to go for it, then you have to go straight into action.
Yeah.
It's not just that's where the abundance mindset, I think, comes into play. Some people will go, okay, I made this decision, and then you're still going to be thinking about it.
So it's funny that you say that. I made the decision to take that leap of faith, and you mentioned the action. The action that followed was my wife and we sat in the lab and just attacked systems, SOPs. We attacked all the back end, and that's why it worked out tremendously, that move, rather than just focusing on just getting out what we needed to get out. We focused on all the back end stuff, and it worked out perfectly for us. Just two people that know how to operate on that back end. And now that we're able to do this together, we're able to sit down and just attack this all. Our systems are built out, our budgeting templates. I feel, me personally, I built out probably 3 systems for others, estimating systems for others.
Okay.
I essentially took out those systems that I built out for people that I worked for in the past, and I perfected it for my company. And even my wife now jumped in, and it's like, no, we need to change it up. So we made it perfect for us. And where I'm at now is like light years, I feel, compared to what I've built out in the past for others. So I feel like we're making our lives very simple. Efficiency is where I stay up a lot at night. Just how can I be faster, more efficient than everybody else? That's all that goes through my mind in this construction industry. It's not about being cheaper, because cheaper is going to get you in trouble. But where I find success is being faster and more efficient than others. It's not about being cheaper, because, like I said, cheap is going to put you in a spot you do not want to be in. And I'm saying this because I've watched others be in that scenario, and I've been in that scenario in the past, and I told myself I'll never go back to that scenario. And I watched successful construction guys. What were they doing? They're not cheap. They're priced right. When you're cheaper than others, or you're that cheaper contractor, you're putting yourself in a bad spot. You're gonna make it so that you're forcing yourself to take money from another job to bring it onto this job, because you don't have enough money, because you were the cheapest person, and now you're screwing another. And it's just a domino effect. And it's something that I've watched in the past, and that's where, and as well as getting myself extremely educated in this entire construction industry, especially estimating. I would say I'm very strong on estimating. When you're estimated properly, the job goes right. When you're cut short, it's a domino effect of everything going wrong. And that's what I feel like we're seeing tremendously here on the Long Island market in construction. Everybody wants the cheapest. You end up putting yourself in a bad position by going with that cheaper contractor. You're going to either affect your health mentally or physically, because let's just take the space that we're in right now. Let's just say there was a plumbing line behind here that was leaking. That's going to create mold. Mold is going to silently kill you without you even you're going to come into this building, and a lot of buildings in Manhattan, actually, because I know this because I come from the construction industry, they have what's called sick building syndrome. And that's caused by poorly built. Why is it poorly built? Because the budget wasn't there. So they're cutting costs, and now it's built poorly. And now everybody in this building is now getting sicknesses, and they're not able to work efficiently because they have a headache constantly, or they're not feeling well. That's all stuff that happens when things are not built the right way. When things are built the right way and designed right as well, you're talking, especially if you're a business owner, productivity boost up. People are happy in their workplace. They want to come to work. That's what design and build does. When you're just slapping something together, you're not going to get those results. And if you're a business owner, your employees are not going to be happy. They're just, job starts at 9. Let me show up at 9:05. Where if you had a place that was designed out and built beautifully and felt right, If job starts at 9, you'll see your employees start showing up at 8:30 just because they want to be there. And that's what design and build. That's that impact of design and build. It's beyond of just the construction. It's how you feel in the space. And I would say, like, my wife can touch on that a lot more because she is the designer. But even from my own experiences and how I feel in spaces that we've built out, it's game changing. And when you're even in your own home, imagine a lot of people are not happy in their own home. Imagine a place where you spend probably 70% of your entire life is in your own home. Imagine not being happy in your own home. And that's what we're trying to bring to the table. We want people to be happy with everything that we put in. We're trying to be that game changer and definitely be disruptive.
Way to bring it back to the name. I want to bring it back to something you said before, like about the domino effect.
Okay.
Have you ever been in a situation where you were caught in that yourself, maybe early on?
Early in my career, I would say I've definitely been caught in those scenarios. But one, I had professors that told me, don't do this. And I realized when I was in those scenarios, it was like I did exactly what my professor said not to do.
I'm going to cut you off. I'm sorry, but that is one of the... Sometimes you have to make the mistake yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's great to have mentors and people that you can lean on, a professor or someone in the past, someone professionally who can tell you the mistakes that you're going to make and how to avoid them. But sometimes you just have to make the mistake to go through it yourself and realize, oh, I'm not special. I can't do, like, my problems aren't unique. Once you learn that lesson, it moves things forward a little bit better for you. Like, I was in a similar situation with the domino effect of, like, chasing my own tail, of being like, oh, I underpriced this job, and that has a trickle-down effect to another job and another job. And so I've been in that scenario. I did it to myself last year, where I actually had people pay up front. So I had a lot of cash.
Okay.
And I made a decision to hire up front. So I went, okay, I have an opportunity to grow faster if I bring on more bodies.
Yep.
And so I brought on more bodies using the money from that job that I didn't yet complete. And that led to the trickle-down effect because I wasn't able to grow it fast enough to sustain those hires after the, whatever it was, 6 months that I had built up. And so I had to learn that mistake myself, or learn that lesson myself, and be like, okay, well, I can't do that again this year, when at the end of the year people, have marketing budgets and they want to spend them.
What I get from that is that you actually learn from your mistake. Not too many people learn from their mistakes. People will make the same mistake over and over again, and then they'll tell themselves, shit, why did I... It sounds like you made a mistake one time, and you're like, no, I'm never doing this again. And that...
Yeah, I mean, maybe I will make a mistake, but hopefully not on that grand a scale.
Yeah, that's super important. In fact, that's one of our values in Husky. It's don't make the same mistake twice. Mistakes happen, and first off, it's construction. Things go south very quickly, goes south all the time. It's how are you responding to that? How are you correcting whatever just happened? It's always about fixing your mistakes, and that's what I see other contractors are missing. They'll make a mistake and just...
I think I saw something.
Hope nobody sees that.
I think I saw something that you put out there.
Yeah.
About maybe like a piece of granite or a countertop or something.
Okay.
Maybe I'm understanding it wrong or remembering it wrong, but it was like a faulty piece and you replaced it.
So my countertop guy who was installing, we just had egress stairs installed probably a week or two before. It's a project. So many things are happening. So we did the egress stairs, brand new egress stairs, and now we're wrapping up this kitchenette. So countertops being installed. Countertop guys, and I'm standing right there. They take this turn a little too quick. And I just saw the countertop just boom hit, and I was like, I hope that didn't damage the countertop. But sure enough, it damaged the stairs that was brand new. I'm I'm standing right there. I catch that, and that's the difference that I provide. Because a lot of times people, especially contract, they'll damage something, and it's let's wait till the owner
try and get away with
recognizes this. If they don't catch it, I'm free and clear. For me, how I approached it was, I go right to my client. Hey, look, my countertop guy just damaged this. I'm going to replace this as quickly as possible. It'll be looking like brand new. That's who I am versus contractors are. And I've worked for a lot of guys that told me to do this, shove this under the rug, hide that from the client. That's their mindset. And if you're not recognizing that that's their mindset, you're in for it. Because I can tell you right now, they're not looking to be transparent. They're not looking to be honest. I know because I've been in this industry. I've managed a lot of them. So and I worked for others as well. So I know exactly their mindset, what they're looking to do, what they're looking to hide from you. A lot of that actually is why I am the way I am today. They told me, hide this from the client. And guess what? Now I go home and I'm like with a knot in my stomach, like, and not able to sleep. Like, I'm like, this is terrible. Like, why would they tell me to hide this from the client? So that's why I can't be even more straightforward. I'm very direct, very straightforward. I'm not looking to hide anything from the clients. Lies get you in trouble because now you got to remember those lies. It's just be straightforward and just say, hey, this is a mistake. We're going to correct it. And that's who I am. And not only am I correcting it, but I'm making sure things are close to perfect, because chasing perfection is not obtainable. And that's in anything. Doesn't matter what business you're in. But getting close to perfect is what you should be chasing. Perfection, you'll be here for years, especially in my industry.
We live by the motto,
yeah,
done is better than perfect.
Yeah, I mean, but I do get my stuff very close to perfect. I wish I could say it is perfect, but nothing's perfect.
There's a point of diminishing returns.
Yes.
When it comes to perfection.
100%.
Because you can put in, 80% of the energy,
yeah,
or 20% of the energy to get 80% of the way there. And then you have to put in another 100% of the same energy to get it to 90%. And then another 100% to get it to 93%, right?
Think about, like, let's say you're creating a video, right? And it's like, oh, I'm editing. There's something missing. And how long could you be doing that for? Something could be missing for a year, 2 years. Or you could just say, you know what? This is what it is. Let me just get it out there. I think this is 99% great, We have
that conversation with clients every single day.
Yeah.
Hey, can you make this quick little change? And sometimes, if not most of the time, we go ahead and we make that change. But sometimes we have to turn around to them and be like, ooh, this is not worth the time that we're going to put into it. It's not going to make the effect that you want it to make. And a little 10% bump on the size of the wording in this spot for the time that we're going to put into it is taking away from another video or two that we could be doing for you in the same amount of time.
Yep.
And so that's where you weigh the balance between, like, all right, perfection or volume. It's like we could make one perfect video, or we could make 30 really great videos that we put out over the course of a month.
100%.
What is going to have the greater impact on your business?
And that's exactly what needs to be going through your mind. And it's not like you can't just sit there and say, no, this isn't perfect. If you're sitting there doing that, you're going to end up in a lot of trouble, I would say, because time is money. I think we all know that. While the time you're spending on doing this, you could have been doing another project, making even more money. And that's where business now comes into play. Yes, I want this to come out as perfect as possible, but I'm not going to sit here and for the tiniest, and I am a very detailed person, but if something is very, very minute, I know to let certain things go, because I also know what the other guys are doing, because I've worked for them, and I know that something like right there, that I would be fixing. But
pointing at an electrical outlet, right?
No, the drywall. If you see the drywall,
okay, yeah,
there's a little dent there or whatever. Me personally, I would have that fixed. But I know, like, let's just say we just renovated this entire, and that was there, which from time to time that happens. People are bringing stuff in, nicks happen, and for me, I'm fixing that no matter what. But for when I work for others, it was nope, leave that, keep it moving, and that's who I am. But I will say, fixing those tiny little things that cost me tremendously. People don't realize that, and I am a person to fix all those little things. But there is a certain point where I'm like, all right, it's too detailed now.
It may cost you, 3% of your margin on a project to fix some of these problems. But the authenticity, I don't know the right word to say here, but the fact that you're going ahead and doing that, or the integrity that comes along with that, and the word of mouth and the great review that you're going to get and the loyalty from the customer is far surpassing that 3% over time compounded.
That's actually exactly my mindset, and I couldn't be more happy that you used the word integrity. That's probably everything that's about me. Like I said, I work for these guys that wanted me to hide things. That's not what I'm looking to do. That's what I started my company based on values. I'm looking to do something different. I'm not trying to do. Everybody else is doing the same thing. Why would I create a company that's doing the same thing as everybody else? I'm doing something completely different. I put design and build under one roof, which right there, that's tremendous, because I've worked with other designers in the past. It's not simple. Communication's not there. I'm calling a designer probably 3 days in a row for the same thing, trying to get answers, texting, and I don't get a response. So now I'm forced to make a decision as a contractor, a design decision, and that puts me in a bad place, because now the designer comes back. This wasn't what I wanted. Now I have to change it. But yet I tried calling you three days in a row. You didn't give me a response, so I had to make a decision. With my wife under one roof, I don't have to wait 3 days. I don't even have to wait 3 hours. I get answers very quickly, and I'm moving at a lot more speed than ever before, because I've been doing construction management.
Why is speed important?
Oh, speed is the most important to me.
Why?
Speed, it's everything that I'm seeking. I will say, being faster than everybody else is what means the most to me. More efficient. It's not just so being fast is important, but not losing quality is even more important. And that's where efficiency comes in. There are many people here on Long Island that are fast, but the work is garbage. Keeping that speed and staying with that quality, that's going to put me in a different I feel like we're already in a different category, but I'm trying to be put in an even different category.
Doing that over a long period of time.
Yep.
I want to bring it back to values real quick.
Okay.
Can you give me a simple answer, very straightforward, of what are your values for Husky?
I could pull my phone out.
Yeah, go for it. You got them listed out?
So it's in my kitchen, actually, and I posted this before on my Instagram.
Oh, you got to send me this.
Yeah,
we'll put it in the video.
This is in my kitchen. Let's see. All my values.
Oh, wow.
On Post-it notes.
What are the core values there?
So it starts off. It's almost top, like a triangle. It was Husky. This is how old this is. It's still there to this day. It's 2 experts, design and build. We're all in one. We're a personable approach. Quality is definitely. We're transparent. We're tailored. Obviously, that's why you're designing this. We're tailoring everything. It's planned execution. Everything's with precision. I take extreme ownership in everything I do. I think that's a huge difference maker in what we're seeing, and I feel like that's one of the most disruptive things that we're doing, because many people, especially here on Long Island, they're so used to a contractor lying to them.
That comes back to the integrity.
Yeah.
Right? That speaks to integrity and why it's so important is if you're sweeping things under the rug or you're not taking ownership of a mistake that you made, then you're...
Contractors, they'll make a mistake, they'll dent something, and they'll say, that wasn't me. That they're quick, or that was there when I got here. That they're quick on that. They're always going to push the blame onto somebody else, and that's where I take ownership. my clients will say like, why did this happen? And I will immediately just blame my guys immediately. And I just watch their eyes just blow up. They're like amazed and stunned that I'm taking blame for something that we did. They're not used to this.
So I want to go back to why are you like this, and where does this come from? And I think that going far back,
Okay.
to potentially some traumatic things that may have happened that I saw recently that you were talking about, which is your brain surgeries.
Okay.
You said you've had 4 different brain surgeries now?
So yeah, I've had 4 brain surgeries. I was diagnosed with hydrocephalus when I was 14 years old. I had
What is that?
Hydrocephalus. It's essentially, for simple terms, it's water in the brain.
Okay.
We all have fluid in our brain. I just have a lot more fluid because where that fluid drains out, my tube is smaller than everybody else. It's more narrow. So picture like a garden hose. Imagine water wants to flow out of there, but you're pinched.
Mm-hmm.
That hose just gets bigger and bigger, and eventually it's going to pop. That's essentially what was happening in my brain. Fluid was just building up in there, causing tremendous headaches. So when I was 14 years old, they did the first brain surgery. They actually just drill a hole right through my cranium and it was called a third ventriculostomy surgery, and they essentially just drilled a hole, and they said the fluid would just drain out on its own. I'll be back to normal, essentially. That did not happen, and so 6 months later, I ended up back in brain surgery, and this time they're putting a tube in my body, and it's basically runs from my head all the way into my stomach, draining that fluid now. It's called a shunt.
Okay.
And so I have a shunt in my head that drains the fluid from my brain to my stomach because my body doesn't want to do it naturally, as well as a normal person would, I would say, just because the tube is smaller than normal.
Yeah.
So it just can't come out.
So that was 2 surgeries
in 1 year.
1 year.
And in 6 months, when I was 14 years old, I would say about 8 years later, the shunt fails. And they told me about 8 to 10 years, every 8 to 10 years, it's going to fail.
So how did you know? It was just headaches started coming back and issues started popping up?
So this is where it gets quite personal, but
we don't have to.
No, I want to actually get this out. I won't recognize who I am. I won't recognize. Essentially, I get memory loss.
Okay.
When I start to get bad symptoms and my brain starts to act up, and the fluid starts to build up, I get memory loss very quickly. I don't know who I am. I don't know who you are. I don't know what day of the week it is.
Is that just the portion of the brain that it's affecting where the fluid buildup is?
It's just the results of how the brain's a very unique thing. It affects everybody differently. I would say people who have hydrocephalus, which is what I have, a lot of times you'll notice these people right away. They normally have a much larger head than normal.
Okay.
And I'm not saying like it's huge, but you can tell.
I don't know what I said about you.
So that's because I wasn't born with it. I developed it as a kid.
Okay.
People who are born with hydrocephalus, their heads are slightly bigger than normal.
Like big enough that a doctor will be able to tell.
Yeah, you could tell pretty much that there's an issue because that fluid, like I said with the garden hose, it builds up. Same thing. It backs up in your head, and that fluid just, I guess, enlarges your head, especially as you grow. But for me, the doctor said I wasn't born this way. Something happened as a child that changed things up.
Do they know what it was?
They don't know.
No idea.
But I was on a football team. I was a quarterback, and I ended up getting a concussion in 8th grade, and that's how they figured out that I had all this.
So some type of...
Without this concussion, I would have never known. I could probably ended up down a bad path because without knowing... at this concussion, they found out that I have hydrocephalus, but they told me, like, we're not going to do anything right now because it's not really affecting you.
Mm-hmm.
Sure enough, a year later, it starts to affect me, and that's when they start to do surgeries.
So now 8 years down the line, the shunt fails. They just put in another one, real simple, or any complications?
They open me up, take out that tube, put in a whole new shunt, and I I would say about another 8 years go by and happens right
Same
again.
thing.
Yeah.
And when is this now?
So this is probably
The most recent one.
most recent one. New Year's, not this. It would be 2 years at this New Year's.
Okay, so 23.
I would say, yeah.
2023.
So I want to say I'm at dinner with my wife's family and everything's good. Dinner finishes and everything's not good. Just like
It
that.
happens that quickly.
Just like that. I don't know who I am. I don't know who you are. I don't know anything. It's memory loss, just like that. And that's the brain's very crazy. They go to take me to the hospital, and they measure things in cc's. Let's take out immediately when I get there 30 cc's of fluid. So they take out, which is a large amount of fluid, believe it or not. They take it out.
Do you know what that is equivalent in ounces or so?
I mean, it's a big like needle. I would
Okay.
say that they're taking out. I don't know in ounces,
Like,
but
like a big syringe.
a big syringe, and they fully take out 30 cc's. And as they're taking it out, I'm sure people could say, because I feel it.
Mhm.
It's like I wake up essentially,
Wow.
because that's what that pressure is doing.
Yeah,
in
the
my
pressure
head.
is like pushing
Like,
on the brain.
I now know who I am, who you are immediately, and that's what that pressure is doing in your brain. And if it's not being extracted properly, like a normal person, it's coming out properly. For me, it's not, and it creates that tension, that pressure, and it really affects me.
Is there a cadence of like checkups and regular things that you have to do?
I'm supposed to do annual checkups. Do I do them? That's another conversation. But
You're gonna get me in trouble with my wife.
yeah, supposed to go annually, I would say. But essentially, I mean, doctors say I'm normal. Just there's metal in my head, so I can't put big headphones on.
Okay.
And I can't go near big magnets. So, MRIs.
No MRI.
MRI. If I do an MRI, my neuro team needs to be nearby.
Okay.
Just so they could reset everything immediately, because it's not if it did
It's
do
a
something, it's got to get corrected immediately. So there's that aspect of everything.
So what I'm curious in is, how has this informed your decision making in your life? You know, we talked earlier about taking calculated risks and taking the leap of faith and going for it. Does this have any impact on your decision making when it comes to that?
I wouldn't say like the surgery itself or anything that's any of the complications. I wouldn't say it changes anything that like my decisions or of anything.
No, but where I'm getting at is, it doesn't change you, the surgery itself, but does it give you a perspective that leads you to just say fuck it, in some way, shape, or form? Not fuck it, but
I would probably say like earlier on, like when I first started to get these surgeries, like I would say it affected me in that way, where now I feel like it's second nature, where it's like, all right, if I need another surgery, it's all right, it's another surgery.
But you've built up the tolerance for
That-
uncomfortability.
Yep.
When
And
you
that's-
came in here today, and I'm going to mark this, because
Yeah.
this is a good one. When you came in here today, I asked you if you would be comfortable to talk about the brain surgeries.
Yeah.
Without having any knowledge of them myself. I'm learning about them firsthand right now. And I said, if it makes you uncomfortable, you don't have to do it. Like, I won't even bring it up. And you said, I gotta get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
100%.
And you said, I feel a little uncomfortable bringing it up, and it is personal, but maybe that's a reason why I should do it. And perhaps that has something to do with your early successes in business, because that in my experience, being resilient is one of the, if not the most important factor for someone who's in business.
I couldn't agree with you more there. It's when you're able to take yourself out of the mud in any scenario, it gives you a certain type of strength, and it makes you feel like you could take anything on. And and I'm not the only one to go through life battles. Many people go through this, and the people who go through these battles normally come out a lot stronger, and they're the ones that try to make some type of impact. And I feel that that right there couldn't be more true about myself. Not just brain surgeries, but multiple car accidents. I feel like many different things led me to where I'm at today. I'm looking to be a game changer in this industry because of probably everything that I've been through in my entire life. That's what led me to where I'm at right here, right now. It's
a culmination of all of your life's experiences, all of your work experiences, everything that you've been through.
On top of the opportunity to do this with my wife. I don't know too many people that get to say that.
We didn't talk really too much about your wife at all.
Yeah.
What type of effect does she have on not just the business, because we've talked about how she's an asset to the business over and over again, how she's in the last 3 months changed everything that you're doing. What does she do for you as a person to allow you to go down this path?
Oh, she's an incredible person in the fact that, first off, let's just start with, she's the one, as I'm out here, who's taking care of my daughter? She is. That right there, tremendous. Like, I can't ask for anything more than what she's doing there. Food's on the table for the entire family. She's doing a tremendous amount. On top of working for us, she's people could say, like, I'm carrying us. No, she's carrying us. She's doing everything at home. She's doing the things with the business. Essentially, she does assistant work for me. She's doing so much, and I'm like, she's just a beast. She takes on so much, and with no complaints, she's doing it all. And I'm like, truly impressed by her. But it's more the fact of her capabilities and what she is able to bring to the table as a designer, more so than everything that I just mentioned that's going to bring value to our company for me. I saw this back in 2018, 2016 with that this is where we should be, designing and building. To get even more personal, when I met my wife, I was a maintenance tech at Avalon, actually, and she was working out of her boss's apartment at the time. She ran her design business out of her apartment in Avalon, and so they called for their HVAC system to be fixed because their AC wasn't working. I come and fix it, and this goes to show like who my wife is. Within a week, there's a Post-it note on my car with her number on it, and that's who she is. She's a go-getter. Sure, like that's what started everything.
I love it.
Yeah, if she didn't leave a Post-it note on my car, where are we at right now? Like I said, she's the real reason for everything.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I like to end this with one question.
Yeah.
I've asked the last few guests, and I changed it a little bit here or there. But the gist of it is, if there's one thing that you would recommend for a business owner who's watching to read, watch, or listen to that maybe has affected you that you think could help someone out there, what would it be?
To answer this in the most simplistic way, I would say download Headway app and get that subscription. Essentially, it's almost every book out there. I'm big on the self-development books. I listen to it. Gives you a shortened version, a summarized version that they're just telling you. Instead of a 300-page book, you're doing 15 minutes of listening, and I do that on my car rides to every job. Essentially, I just listen to self-development book after self-development book, and that law of attraction, that mindset of abundance, that all came from there. It was just what I was listening to was what I was doing in real life, you know.
Is there one book maybe that
few books
you would recommend? It's tough, but if you could pick one.
Let me just real quick dive through. There's a few I'm strong about. I would say Meditations by it's about Marcus Aurelius. Yeah, that one was a game changer for me. There's many more, but if I were to give one, I'd probably say that one.
That's cool.
got to have your mind right for this. If you don't have your mind right, you're not going to be able to succeed.
I'm writing it down. I've heard of it before. I hear Ryan Holiday talk about it all the time.
Okay.
And I've yet to read it myself, so I'm going to.
Game changing for myself. If you have that Headway app, you just listen to it in 15, 20 minutes, and when you're starting your day off right there, with that book specifically, it's about the Stoic way of living, and it's just like different mindset. It's realizing we all come to an end at one point, and once you realize that, your entire mindset changes, because there's times where you're probably feeling like I'm unstoppable, but think about it. One day you are stoppable, and that changes everything. It changes your entire mindset. It changes your way of thinking.
What's the saying? Memento mori? Is
Yes.
that the...
Yes.
Eventually we all die?
It's in the book. Yep. Eventually we all die. And that's the truth. Unless you have some secret that I don't know about.
I wish. Or maybe not. I don't know.
But when you realize that, your eyes open, your ears open, and you look at life differently.
Mm-hmm.
I would say you're going to be more grateful for things. We're in a time period where the world is moving faster than ever. COVID changed everything. Family is not what family used to be. Family time isn't what family time used to be. This world is moving much more rapidly. Just take the second to be grateful and appreciate life. That's what I think I take out from that book, I would say.
I love it.
Yeah.
Where can people find you?
You can find me on social media, Instagram, Facebook, Husky Construction LLC on Instagram. I want to say we're Husky Design and Build on Facebook. You could email me, davidconstructionllc.com. It's where you'll find me.
Awesome. David,
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
I appreciate you, Steve. Thank you.
Cool. We can wrap it.